I'm using Aeon Timeline to map out my current work in progress, TruthSayer, and I figured I should show you how I'm doing it. What's up, my fellow scribe? Tim here. Welcome back to the channel. Up until recording this video, TruthSayer was my current work in progress, but it is no longer. You can find out in my latest TruthSayer update that I just posted last week. It doesn't matter that TruthSayer is no longer my current active work in progress. It doesn't change the fact that I am using Aeon Timeline to map out my protagonist, Syng's backstory. His backstory needs to fit in a very tight time frame, that time frame being 11 years. Yes, I understand 11 years doesn't really fit that time frame I just said. Trust me, it does. And most of it actually must fit in 7 years, between the ages of 14 and 21. And to ensure that all these events can fit in that time frame, I decided to dust out the old Aeon Timeline and use that to make sure. Oh yes, something about like, subscribe. Great, that's out of the way. Let's get started. Let's talk Aeon Timeline and what it is. And I can't think of a better person to explain what it is other than me. You see, I did a review of Aeon Timeline 2. You see? Right here? Yep. Aeon Timeline is a visual timeline application designed to help keep track of any time-based project. Unlike other timeline software that are designed for presentation, Aeon Timeline desired to be different. Designed by writers who saw that most timeline software was not up to the task to be used in efficient ways. Writers constantly change their mind, and thus so will their timeline. The developers of Aeon Timeline wanted more features than just a timeline that tracked the events of their stories, such as keeping track of characters' backstories, relationships between characters, character arcs, and much, much more. You can check the rest of that review out by clicking the link in the cards. Now, I did start doing this on Aeon Timeline 2, but since Aeon Timeline 3 is out, I decided to give it a try by using the free trial. And yes, I may or may not do a review in the near future of Aeon Timeline 3. Or next week. But now let's jump into the software and see what I'm doing. Let's start off what my calendar looks like. Yes, you can create your own unique calendar in Aeon Timeline. Sort of. My inspiration originally was to be very different with my calendar. We're talking like 15 months, 400 to 600-ish days. But then I thought, since it's been over a decade since I even tried to create a unique calendar, I opted for a not so different calendar system. The calendar consists of 11 months and 360 days. The months are named after the 11 moons and how long each moon is the largest in the night sky. Example, Aries is 34 days. That's how long that moon is the largest moon at night, and it is very consistent. And yes, there is an in-world explanation for this. No, I'm not going to explain it now. Oh, and by the way, there's no weeks in this calendar system. I'm leaning toward that being an outdated system. Well, at least for the primary location of the story, Syng's hometown. It would be kind of like the two rivers in the Wheel of Time. Mostly forgotten about by its country and way behind the times. But I'm not sure yet. Well, about it being an outdated calendar system. It's definitely behind the times. Let's move on to Syng's backstory. The key range for Syng's backstory and the ages are between 10 and 21, with key events happening at 10, 12, and 14, where at 14 he is forced to leave home. Side note, I am thinking about moving the events at age 10 into age 12, but I'm not really sure about that just yet. There are several key important events that happen between ages 14 and 21, but aren't tied to a specific age. They just need to happen before 21 when he returns home, which is the primary story. Syng's age is not the only character's age though that matters though, and I need to make sure fit. Don't get me wrong, Syng's ages are key and the most important, but I do have other characters that ages do matter and need to fit that time frame. And Aeon Timeline allows you to see how old your characters are when they're linked to a specific event, as long as you've given them a birthday. This makes it super easy, barely inconvenient, to see how old the character is on an event. This has saved me huge problems with two characters. Two characters' ages did not fit the specific event and forced me to play around when they were born, unfortunately. But it works out because I need these characters to be specific ages for those events. While the backstory for Syng and other characters do need to work and fit together, so is the actual main plot and the story. Currently, I plan to have the main story take place over 20 days from the moment Syng returns home. But a good chunk of those events happen in a short period of time. So I am thinking about shortening the number of days the story takes place over. But it doesn't matter if I do that or not. I am going to use Aeon Timeline, like I did for the backstory, to figure this out, especially since I want to shorten the number of days. But to start, I'm just going to take Syng's plot points and events and plug them on the timeline to see how it plays out. And then I'll see if I can shorten or need to extend the days the story takes place over. But I'm not there just yet.
Psych!
I am on this, and I'm extending the days. Oh boy, do I need to extend the days. When I put only Syng's events on the timeline, it shows me I have to extend the days.
Period.
Slam!
Woo! I'm so glad I did that. Aeon Timeline is a very good tool for writers. I am still getting a hang of using Aeon Timeline 3, and I like it. There are a few things I am wishy-washy on. And I can't say for sure I would use it for every project. But at the same time, I think I could, because it's saved me a lot of issues so far. And it's a very, very good way to get an overall view of all your novel's events. So you may want to consider using Aeon Timeline or another timeline software in your novel planning. No, I've not forgotten about you, Pantsers. You may want to use Aeon Timeline to plot your novel's events on after you've written it, so you can get that same view, but you still get to write it first and use it to help you edit. You've made it to the end of this video, so why not smash that like button and subscribe. So is Aeon Timeline 2 worth buying? Click this video to watch my review to find out. Thanks for watching. Bye.